Hello and welcome to Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornatal, back with you in the Brooklyn Bunker once again. Very excited. We have Breeders' Cup qualifying action really getting down to the nitty-gritty with just a handful of weeks before the big dance. It's the last weekend for our regular season of our HorsePlayers Happy Hour Thursday live stream. That's something we're going to encourage you to check out and play in this weekend. But the first thing I want to do before we get to the guests on this week's show is to give props to some of the folks who won their seats last weekend over on horseplayers.com, where you'll find feeders and qualifiers every day. John Himes, David McCarty, Eric Brothers, and Jim Settle won full-on BCBC seats, and then two players won $5,000 partial entries, including Ciaran Thornton. We'll hear from him a little bit later in the show, and also Cal Justice. Meanwhile, over on twinspires.com, Frank Mustari, who we've had on the show this season, you can go back and find that episode in our archive on the Breeders' Cup YouTube channel. Frank Mustari gets another BCBC seat with a win over at Twin Spires. Qualifying action coming up fast and furious these next few weekends, as you might expect, with all the win and you're in races happening. We'll go straight to September 28th, this Saturday, California Crown Betting Challenge, a $6,000 event, $5,000 live bankroll, $1,000 entry fee there. There's also a Twin Spires contest on Saturday. Sunday, Santa Anita and ExpressBet have a low ratio challenge. For information about all of the ExpressBet contests, you can go to expressbet.com/tournaments. October 11th and 12th, Keeneland takes center stage contest both days. Keeneland.com, the place to check that out. Jim Goodman, the point of contact. But that big fall contest is happening, as well as a smaller one on the Sunday. And then the following weekend, we're back at Santa Anita for another Santa Anita ExpressBet low ratio challenge. Those are happening on both the 19th and the 26th. All right, with that business out of the way, we're going to bring in today's first guest. He's one of our regular players here on Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries. He is Jackson Muniz. Jackson, how are things?
Doing good, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend with the California Crown. I'm going to be just bought my ticket last night, so I'm excited to check it out this year.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to getting to hang out with you out there. It's going to be a really fun event, food, music, and of course, great racing from our friends and partners out there. But got to tell you something. So at one point early on in the contest last Thursday on HorsePlayers Happy Hour, you were in the first three spots. I'm not joking when I tell you I screenshotted it and was about to send a tweet to the effect of things are getting interesting over on HorsePlayers Happy Hour. And then I was like, but then if it doesn't go well, I'll feel like I jinxed the poor man. I know he's done well this season, but maybe this is the week where he punches his ticket by finishing in one of the top two spots for our HorsePlayers Happy Hour playoffs and has a chance in this special 80 entry tournament for a BCBC seat. I decided not to do it. Things then calmed down for you a little bit. I was like, well, I guess I didn't jinx him after all. Then lo and behold, the last race at Belmont, big long shot winner. You had the horse. You won the thing outright. Tell me what happened. I can only picture you watching the race and jumping up and down.
Well, actually, we had our big invitational last weekend, so I was working the whole day. I only watched one race. I didn't even see the standings until I think the fifth race was over, and I knew at that point I was in the top 20-ish with all three entries, and I had a horse I loved. My pick of the day was the 5 horse in the seventh race, I think it was, and he was like 5 or 6 to 1. That was the only race I watched the whole day. And he was loaded the entire way. Oh, he's going to win. And he just never got through at any point. He got third, and I was so mad. I'm like, well, there goes that whole contest. Maybe I'll get super lucky with the long shots in the last couple of races, but not like really expecting it to happen. And then finally get to the last race, and I go sneak away to go watch the race. And there was a delay at the gate, horse scratched. They walked around like for 40 minutes. So I couldn't watch it. Okay, I got to go back and start working. And then I just, another 30 minutes later, I refreshed the leaderboard, and lo and behold, my name was at the top. And very, very pleasant surprise. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe they let Dylan Davis pay $45 for like the 100th time this summer. It's just ridiculous how much this guy wins. It's unbelievable.
He's been a revelation. I mean, he's been good for a while, but he's taken it to another level, and especially on these price horses. And that was a wide open 2-year-old maiden race, exciting race. You must have been very excited to find the winner. You had spread in that race across your entries. Did you have a particular angle on the winner, or was it almost wide open race? Dylan Davis is riding. There's your angle.
it was a wide open race. I didn't like the two favorites, and the horse had like 3 workouts on the work tab, and that kind of appealed to me because it wouldn't appeal to me in like a regular everyday betting, but I'm like, no one's going to pick this horse because he has a really small work tab, and I think that's ended up what happening because I think I was pretty far down. I want to say I was like 30th or something, and no one above me had it, and it worked out. It worked out.
I was surprised. It was fun when we scrolled down through after that last race on Horse Players Happy Hour, and you were I think it was a 4. You were the first name with a 4, so able to get the job done. You're going to be heading to these Horse Players Happy Hour playoffs with multiple entries. You can have up to 3. I think you're going to have at least 2. Pretty exciting. Are you any extra preparation you'll do for those contests? It's different rules. The field starts with 80, and then it halves every week. 80 down to 40, 40 down to 20, 20 down to 10. Will that change your approach from the games you've been playing in, where you've only needed to be in the top 10%? Now that you only have to be in the top 50% to advance.
Yeah, it's definitely going to change. I'm going to have to think about it because it's different. Like you said, you only have to be in the top 50%. So rather than picking long shots to get in the top 2 or 3 out of 200, you only need, you can pick the favorites and hope that everyone else spins their wheels, and all you have to do is be half the field. And I'm thinking right now I'm probably going to do the same picks on each entry, at least if I get past the first round and the second round, because I think you can only take 1 entry to the final table. Does that sound right? So that's kind of the game plan now. We'll see what happens with what the cards come up like, see if my opinions match up to that. And then even this upcoming week, I think I have a really small chance, but I have an outside chance if I get in the top 2 or 3 again, I think, of winning the leaderboard outright if I pick the same horses on each entry, which I will be doing this week. So
yeah,
you never know.
Great point. That's a great point, because Julie Leboyko, who's our current leader, right now she's in pole position to get that $10,000 seat for winning the regular season tour. But I would imagine a lot of folks like you will be chasing that down. We encourage people to check out Horse Players Happy Hour. Going to be going a little early on the live stream this week with the sun going down earlier and all. 3:30 will be going live. First race will be race number 2 from Belmont at Aqueduct. Jackson, get to handicapping. We want to see what you can do, and maybe you can, I don't know how busy you are Thursday, maybe pop on and join us. If not, we'll be touching base with you again here very, very soon.
Sounds good, Pete. Thank you.
Up next on the show, man who had some nice success over at horseplayers.com over the weekend, winning his $5,000 partial Breeders' Cup betting challenge entry. Welcome back to the In the Money / Breeders' Cup airwaves to Ciaran Thornton. Ciaran, how are things?
Oh, great, Pete. Thanks for having me on again. It's always a good sign when you have me on. It means I won something.
Well, I want to ask you about this because your name has been prominent this year on the NHC Tour leaderboard, right up there near the top, in fact. Was curious how you're still finding the bandwidth to play in Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge qualifiers with that other goal on the horizon. How did you come to play in this Friday event?
Well, it's the Friday. I'm chasing the tour. I'm already double qualified, and Friday is the best chance to actually move up on the leaderboard. It's the most points you can get. So I'd already done the work and was sitting there, and I was like, you know what? There's a $500 contest today. I don't really want to buy in $500, 2 entries, so let me try the feeder, and hit a bomb in the last race of the feeder, and I had an entry in. And, that got me in. And then, I have a funny story. I started doing really well in contests a couple years ago because, like everyone else, I had the story. My second choice, I would have won that contest. I would have won it.
Last horse I threw out. Yeah, you always do.
And the wife goes, well, how many entries are you allowed to have? And I go, 2. And she goes, how many are you playing? I go, 1. And she goes, well, duh. So I started playing 2. And the fact that I won 1 entry, I was like, you know what, let me just buy the other entry. And the crazy thing is, every time I do one of these contests, is very rare. One card or the other is going to dominate. And it's not like I do it by choice. And it just happened to be this time was the second entry I bought in, was the one that had all the winners on it. You just never know.
There's also the split tickets phenomenon, of course, but great to know that you've adjusted your game, and it's coincided with a terrific run you've been making both in BCBC and NHC qualifying events. Tell me about, was there any particular horse that did it for you in the Friday qualifier, or was it a steady stream of winners?
I was just pretty steady. I mean, I had a couple of decent prices, but the score was pretty low for a contest. I think the final score, of course, I got knifed in the end. I led for most of the day, and then a favorite ran second, and I lost the actual full entry by like $1.50 or something like that. So, I mean, I think the final score was $62. So it was just a steady stream of okay prices. And I mean, I know we talked before. I said before I would toss out favorites and low odd horses, but there's been enough times where that $4 or $5 has been the difference on an entry and not. So I don't go out of my way to beat favorites if I think they've got a good chance.
I
And
think
that's been a big difference maker.
Yeah, that's wise, and I think that's a smart evolution in your play from the way you've described it to me. And leave it to a horse player to have a great winning day, winning that 5,000 entry, and still somehow turning it into a bad beat story. That's like the most horse player thing ever.
Well, we're all degenerates. That's what we do. I'm here now playing parks.
Good for you. I love it. Sorry to interrupt your parks playing here to come on the show, but we appreciate you. Question for you. We talked about you as a horse player. You're also a horse owner. Talk about stepping in something magical. First horse you ever owned, Gold Phoenix, with our friends at Little Red Feather. What a legend he's been on the Southern California circuit. He makes his return to the races for the California Crown weekend on Saturday. I think I already know the answer to this question, but will you be wearing your custom-made Gold Phoenix suit? And how's the horse coming into this race?
Oh, of course I'm going to be wearing. I got a new pair of gold shoes to go with it as well for this one. So,
and the gold like glasses, a Hermes helmet, and then you'll have the look complete. How's the horse doing?
Oh, he's doing fantastic. I mean, what people don't realize, after he runs these marathon races, and you see him in the barn afterwards, it doesn't even look like he raced. Like no bother running all these. Even after the race, he's not even huffing. So, he came out of it fantastic. And Phil said, why not? Now, this race is our nemesis. It's been our prep race for the Breeders' Cup the last 2 years, and we've just not run well. So, we're owed on this one. This is our year. We're going to get it.
I like it. And how about the Breeders' Cup itself? You've won a win in your in race. It's a home game in the backyard. There'll be some gorillas coming over for sure, but I assume that's going to be on the dance card. Do you think he might be able to step up and really write a fairy tale ending to this story?
I mean, it's always, every year since we got this horse, Phil, his target's always been, Breeders' Cup, Del Mar Handicap, Breeders' Cup. Every year we ran fourth last year and came late. And if you actually watch that race replay, a couple of feet past the finish, he was right there with the winner. So, I mean, it's just a matter of when his engine gets going late. And if he's got that clear path, and I think he can run down any horse. He's got that will. He likes to win.
Ciaran, we'll see you up at Santa Anita in the foothills there, the San Gabriels, this weekend. Really appreciate you coming on here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much to today's guests, Ciaran and Jackson. Thanks to our friends over at the Breeders' Cup as well, especially Haley and Justin. Thanks also to all of you for listening, especially those of you who support us by playing over at HorsePlayer's Happy Hour on Thursdays. Our regular season ends, but we're going to have direct qualifiers on Thursdays all through the Breeders' Cup. So don't miss out on that. Go to horseplayers.com to enter and watch the shows on Breeders' Cup social media or the Breeders' Cup YouTube channel. That's all for today. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatal, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.